Well, when I came here in 1984, Sotheby's, who screwed me when they sold me this place, said it's the 40s here, the 1840s, okay? It might be the 1740s now. I don't see councils. I mean, there must be a methodology to convince a council to do this on a council basis. But I don't, I think we just spent $25,000 on boilers. It's like my septic tank here. I was naive enough when they put it in 1986 or 7. They said it was a lifetime. I'd never have to change it. Mm-hmm. I was a dipshit enough to believe it. I can think of 5 times we've emptied it just off the top of my head. Okay? We've changed boilers 3 times in 38 years. Nobody ever lied to me and said they were lifetime. But I'm sure some of my farmer neighbors think everything they've got is lifetime. I mean, since the wallpaper's falling off their walls and the ceilings are caving in and the toilets are falling through the floors. So is it a bigger market in Spain or England?
I think it's more advanced in England, but in actual fact, the opportunities in Spain for this type of stuff, because actually the Europeans are not really fussed about buying it from the UK now. So there's a shift in the market since Brexit. So they're looking for more of these carbon credits coming from within Europe as opposed to from the UK. So yeah, I mean, there's every bit as big an opportunity there because of a bigger market.
Well, 24 of the 25 most polluted cities on the planet are in China. Tokyo is part of that 25, but okay. China, India didn't sign the accord in Glasgow a few months ago, okay? This is part of the thing why NATO says it's a joke, okay? They also say it's a joke because we're going to give money to the poor countries. The last time we promised $100 billion, not one penny was given because all those countries, corruption, they're going to steal the money. So they say it's a marketing gimmick. And God bless you. I wish that I was Al Gore and thought all that bullshit he said. It's a marketing gimmick for the rich to get richer and the poor to get poorer. And when I see your name in decarbonization, I say, God bless you. You didn't learn about decarbonization from me. That's for sure. That's great. Now, what do you think about all this? Do you care if the world's going to end in 50 years?
I don't know, probably because I've lived my life, so I don't care really.
God bless you. Now, a year ago or so, you either contacted the office directly, I can't remember now, something that you wanted to come here and you asked your dad to pay for it and he said no.
Yeah.
Okay. It was about a year ago. Okay. You're going to see an email tomorrow or the next day from a 13-year-old kid who wants to come here. In the meantime, since I've mentioned the 14-year-old's coming, I've set a new benchmark. Now the 14-year-old, although we've had the youngest, back in the 90s, we had a brother and 2 brothers, 13 and 14 arrive. But 2 of the Hall of Famers that are worth hundreds of millions got thrown out of their house when they were 13 and 14 for practicing QLA. Their parents thought they were doing drugs, okay? And they moved to Australia. How they got the money to go to Australia, I have no idea. And they're both retired in Fiji or someplace. They're now in their late 20s, and they're living off the fat of the land. And their parents, unlike your parents, who you're learning it from, their parents, one was a drug addict, and the other one was a crack whore or something. I don't know how your mother could be worse than a crack whore, because he says my mom was worse than a crack whore. So I don't know how you're worse than that.
Well, he did.
No. But you see your parents' work ethic. Do you know if your parents work harder or smarter or in a different way than your friends' parents?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but I know they do. Yeah.
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 I'm not suggesting you have friends, but to the extent that you do have friends, do you talk about what your parents do?
At some stage, it's funny how you earlier in the conversation you said, "Are they doing something illegal?" Because my parents are always away on business trips and stuff. So my friends think that they're drug dealers and do money laundering, which is just funny you came up with.
Well, the margins are better in money laundering than because kids equate money fast with doing something wrong. It's hard for them to understand because of Corona. Even though Corona is an awful thing, I said a few years ago it was going to be with us. One form or another was going to be with us forever, and it reignites the idea that these people don't have a succession plan. It reignites the idea that you're their only alternative, and in some cases, you're stretching out the payments. So it's not really a saving of taxes, but you're spreading the payment of taxes out over several years because you're paying over several years, and it makes it that much easier. And as you know, in addition to yourselves, we added more people to the Hall of Fame than we've ever added in a 10 or 15 year period. And we're closing 95%. It's actually more than 95% more transactions now. And the kids are just whatever was beyond crushing it, like yourselves. But you're my darlings because you're in Scotland. And I have selfish reasons. The 2 or 3 other people that have been successful in Scotland want to actually see me run, and then they may or may not step forward. Because a couple of big hitters, one a billionaire here in Scotland, came to the seminar in 1995. He's got a loss of memory now, and he doesn't have dementia. Okay, but Graham, what's the biggest thing, the biggest change that and again, you've explained it, again, you and your wife doing it together is highly unusual. I mean, in fact, in some areas, I'd say impossible. But you made it work. And I know you had to work at it. It just didn't happen.
So I think the biggest shift for us is how much bigger we think now. We're from just along the road in Angus where we live. That's where we're based. It's a small area. It's a small environment. We are now went from there to we think we're doing business internationally. We're disappointed we've only got 600-700 employees. We're disappointed we've only done 120, 130 million this year. We're genuinely disappointed because we could do so much bigger than that. We know that now. At the time, that was incredible. We never, how do we get there? So our shift is in thinking ourselves and obviously for our kids as well, to trying to bring them into this. We were driving down in Dundee this morning, Dan, and I had this exact conversation with Mitchell, saying, can you imagine just living here all your life? And that's what most people do. Correct. And we're driving into the town, we're coming up, I'm going, and most of the people I know, most of my family, most of the people that I've came across my life, they're still there.
Correct.
They're there forever. And I get a sickly feeling about it, genuinely, because I'm going, we need to live our life. There's so much more that we can do, and we're nothing special. We just took a different route to do that. So,
when I came here 37 and a half years ago, I have the same neighbors, second generation. But when you go back, the same people here for 200 years. They have, normally you go away to school. If for those that went to school, you go on the Black Watch here. You come back and you drink yourself to death. That's the life cycle here, and has been forever. And strangely enough, Squire Guthrie in 1297 went to Calais to bring Willie Wallace back to fight the English. Okay? Now what happened after he got chopped up in 1306 and dismembered? I don't know. There's a 200 or 300 year gap of what the Guthries did or didn't do. And there's a lot of different stories. But they had a Bible in one hand and a sword in the other hand. They were selling religion back in those days, okay? And if you didn't take the religion, they lopped your head off. But the same families are here. Nothing's changed. And when one of my neighbors who lives in Los Angeles now, he's in the movie business, And when he was growing up with our sons, and I told him, if you want to be in the movie business, you got to go to Hollywood. And well, I'm sure, I know for a fact to this day his parents were sorry I said that, because now he's in Hollywood and they don't see the grandkids, yada, yada, yada. But nobody leaves this place. And when the oldest son gets old, when the father gets old, he turns the big house over to the oldest son. And I mean, it's the same old rigmarole. And I mean, they can't agree on anything. Scottish politics is a good example of that. It's like the clans. They're still arguing about the Douglases and the this and the that. But the fact that you started here, and one of the things I've told the politicos, the reason why they left Scotland is because Scotland doesn't make it conducive to do business. They're not doing anything special for you. I mean, you can go other places, no taxes, delayed taxes, loans, special grants, and Scotland does nothing. So what is bringing your son, which I'm happy as I can be, what as parents is your goal, other than the obvious to be exposed, and for him coming here at a young and tender age?
Well, as I said, Mitchell has a goal or a dream that he wants to be a millionaire by the time he's 16, and if we can assist him to get that goal and achieve that dream, then that's what we want to do.
That's terrific. And my demographics 20 years ago was 50 to 70. 10 years ago, it was 35 to 55. Now it's 15 to 45 of the people that follow me. Because now, I mean, the kids through the internet, which not everything on the internet is good, which we all know, can get information instantly. Tomorrow morning, we're going to talk about half a dozen of the teenagers, partially because you're here, that have gotten super rich, big time rich. Okay, so be a good example. All of but one is still on track. One is falling off the rail, so to speak, because you can find a lot of bad crap. You can find a lot of bad crap at any age, but you can especially find a lot of bad crap as a teenager. But we're going to talk about that for 20 or 30 minutes tomorrow, and you can make your own assessment. Is there anything I can do to help? I told you in an email, which I won't repeat here, but you're part of my flock, okay? And the fact that you've done it here, the fact that you've come back, I know why you've come back. Because you've been to the seminar before, you've been to the seminar and the hardcore before. Your impassioned talk about how you felt, didn't feel right about coming to the hardcore that time, hit home with the meatheads that were sitting in front of you. And so many people now, and I'm not suggesting it's time for you to exit. There's a lot of the kids are exiting and pulling out big chunks of money. And they're going right back in it, which surprised some of the audience. They're jumping right back in. They just pulled out 80 million or 140 million, and they're jumping right back in because the second and third time you do it, forget all the wisdom that you garnered, but it's significantly easier. It's significantly easier, and leadership starts at the top and it filters down through the employees you have and the various organizations that you've bought or joint ventured with, etc., are learning from you. We just had Gerard on, the gangster lawyer turned dog hospital entrepreneur. He doesn't sound the same. I did a podcast for him. I mean, he doesn't even look the same. It's quite remarkable. And he's allergic to animals. He didn't say that on the podcast, but that's what I think is funny. When he goes to his hospitals or his clinics, he breaks out in hives. So, but he didn't say that. He neglected to mention that. Or as Churchill would say, he was judicious with the truth. Any questions you'd have? You're going to have a whole week to ask me questions, but any questions you'd like to ask me?
Not right now. So
not right now?
thank you.
Okay, well, you've got great role models.
Yeah.
Okay. And they made it happen in a tough market, started in Scotland, and with tough circumstances. A couple's not easy. When you get older, you're looking at it from a kid's point of view as your parents. But when you get to be you're an adult now, but when you get to be a grown-up or more grown-up adult, you're going to see that there's a lot of things that they had to overcome because they just are, life. But I'm proud as hell of you, and I thank you very much for coming by. And we're going to talk a little bit more when this one's over. But I want to thank you very much. Thank you, young lady. Okay. Thank you, young man. Thank you. Very good. Thank you.